I met Meng about 3 months ago, and Meng Chang serves as the inaugural chairman of the Princeton Entrepreneurship Council and director of Keller Center of Innovation and Engineering Education at Princeton. His massive open online course on network life, get this, reached over 250,000 students since 2012. And the textbook received the 2013 Truman Award for American Society of Engineering Education. He was named a Guggenheim Fellow in 2014. He is also the Arthur Grand Doty Professor of Electrical Engineering at Princeton University. He worked in the analysis, design, and optimization of networks and has co-founded several startups. So I am thrilled and pleased to introduce Meng Chang. Meng.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Peter, for the kind introduction and the kind invitation. It's a distinct pleasure for me to be here today. I have called in the past 13 years Princeton University as the place where I work and Princeton Township as the place where I call home. So it gives me great pleasure and honor to be here with such a distinguished group of neighbors. Today, I would like to just focus on one specific subject, and that is how entrepreneurship in Princeton University is going to help educate the future generations of entrepreneurs, innovators, and how we can work together as partners. Let me start with some very exciting news of our Princeton alumni. So Trevor Wilkin, class of 2013, I think, he's an African-American student. He founded a startup called Kuzu, and it's a very innovative mobile technology that will connect students, especially those in underrepresented minority groups, underprivileged neighborhoods, for their academic excellence and connect them to a whole ecosystem of rewards. And this year, he was named as one of the 25 under 25 by Forbes magazine as one of the nation's premier young entrepreneurs. And he came right out from Princeton University. Now also, this month, one of my graduate students, she basically disappeared because she's got 15 interviews with different universities, including some of the best engineering school and business school, the top threes in the country, for a faculty position. Her name is Carly Jo Wong. She's a Princeton class of 2011, I think. And she's also currently a PhD student. Now, during her PhD study, she co-founded a startup company in mobile technology space with me and a couple of others at Princeton University. And we spun out this company as an independent entity. The company is called DataMe, D-A-T-A-M-I. And DataMe today has become the premier technology provider globally in developing and developed worlds for open toll-free mobile data. Okay, so what is open toll-free? Well, now you have to pay, I assume, to your mobile operator around $10 per gigabyte of mobile data consumption. Sometimes a bit more, but let's say $10 a gigabyte. Just a few years ago, it was unlimited mobile data, but you got to watch out how many minutes you have spent talking. But now, since nobody is talking on their phone, they use the phone for everything else, including shutting itself down. But talking on the phone, you got unlimited phone minutes and text messages, but you got to pay for how much you use for the data. Now, a gigabyte goes by just like that. So, but what if some of the content providers can subsidize your data consumption? Just like Amazon Kindle ebook. You pay once for the experience, the ebook. You don't pay again for the transportation of the bytes. It's a bundle deal. It's a sponsored content deal. Or if advertisers would like to sponsor it, just like when you go to airport, you want to get a free Wi-Fi, you got to watch a 2-minute advertisement, right? Or if your employer, and I hope those employers who are members of the chamber will be generous enough to reimburse business-related mobile data charges to their employees, then you're wondering, maybe part of my mobile data should be paid by somebody else. Okay, advertisers, content providers, my employers. Now, the challenge is, how do I make this work in an open way? In a way that is not walled garden. Anybody can set up a 1-800 number for mobile data. And you can specify for certain time of the day, for certain region, for certain particular types of apps. And then you hit return button on your keyboard. Boom, there you go. You are now owner of a 1-800 number of mobile data. So this vision is now a reality thanks in part to the technology breakthrough that's rooted at Princeton University research, now commercialized through this particular startup company. Now coming back to Carly. So Carly was an undergraduate student doing her senior thesis when she wrote a beautiful piece of mathematical treatise on the economics of network data consumption, which, working with a group, she then turned into a prototype. And then we founded this company, it got spun out. She spent a year working in that company as head of advanced research. The company is doing very well now in Boston. I'll come back to that a bit later. Why not on Nassau Street? We were right behind Nassau Street for a few months. This is one of the challenges we're going to try to address. But now it's a vibrant startup company in Boston with a global outreach and footprint, many important customers. And I suspect the fact that Carly is getting all these invitations for faculty interview at MIT, at Stanford, at some of the best business engineering schools in the country has something to do with her experience as an entrepreneur. Her experience as somebody who can do both fundamental research at Princeton University and help to translate that into societal benefits. And there are many of these examples. And I'll spare you with a lot of painful details of my own research. Sometimes I fall asleep in my own research talk. I haven't had my coffee this morning from Small World or any coffee shop that's your favorite. So let me just skip that and jump right into how the university as an organization is helping our students, today's and tomorrow's students, undergraduate and graduate students, along with our alumni and faculty member, if they would like to explore the path of entrepreneurship. But first, we have to define what we mean by entrepreneurs. For example, I would look up the dictionary. I will actually look up Wikipedia and try to copy and paste exactly their definition onto the report that our committee issued last year. I'll come to that report in a minute. But what I read was something like this. Entrepreneurship is creating for-profit ventures based on technology. So, indeed, that is a form of entrepreneurship, but not the only way to define entrepreneurship. And what we came up with as the Princeton University version, the orange and black version of entrepreneurship definition, that anytime you initiate transformations through risk-taking actions and value-creating organizations. Now, I try to remember that precisely very hard. In fact, you can wake me up in the middle of the night when the baby is crying and say, all right, Meng, what is the Princeton University definition of entrepreneurship? And I can tell you that verbatim. Now, that is a definition that is much broader than let's drop out of college at 8:20 and start another angrybird.com. And that is a form of entrepreneurship, but not the only way. And indeed, you can be an entrepreneur as a small business owner, as somebody who works in a small business. You can be an entrepreneur in government or nonprofit. You can be an entrepreneur working in a large organization. You can be an entrepreneur when you're in college. You can be one much later in your career. You can be one who would write a senior thesis and found Teach for America out of that. That's one of our Princeton alum. You can be an entrepreneur by working with large companies first and then decide to found Amazon. That's yet another Princeton alum. Or you can be one who worked for large companies for quite a few years and then be recruited to be the CEO of Google. You see the pattern. That's, yes, another Princeton alum. Now, how do we support the future Wendy Kopp's, the future Jeff Bezos, the future Eric Schmidt's, and many other unsung heroes? Well, this committee that I had the honor to chair was formed by our provost, David Lee, and we issued a report, which is in public. And you can go to the strategic planning process. Just Google those keywords of Princeton University. You will see that listed as one of the reports coming out. In fact, you might find a few other reports fascinating as well, including those talks about how can we build even stronger ties with industry, nonprofits, and government, nationally and regionally. But this report was strongly endorsed by our leadership, President Eisgruber, Provost Lee, and many others working at Princeton University. But my job today is to just carry out one message, and that message is the university alone cannot accomplish this goal. There are certain things that the university can just say, you know what, we're going to do this, and we will succeed. But there are certain other strategic goals where we must have partners. We must have an ecosystem and must take a village. And that's my message, is to open up our arms, say that we would like to explore how the university and the chamber, the ecosystem around us can work together. I believe we can bring in unique, different perspectives and assets. Assets defined in a very broad way. And the university has a lot of talents. My joining the university has substantially dragged the curve downwards. But don't look at me. Look at my wonderful colleagues and students. At the same time, there are certain things that the university are not supposed to be doing, and we will not try to reinvent the wheels. We rather work with partners. Now, the report recommended a number of action items. Let me just summarize 3 of them. One item is the recommendation of a space where entrepreneurs can meet each other. As an entrepreneur myself, and I know that there's fatal deficiencies you can find typically in how a startup spinning out of a university would fail. A big part of that is lack of a complete, experienced, and stable team. And without the team, as we all know, you don't have anything. You got PowerPoints. You got vision. But I heard that vision is on sale at Walmart at, $9.99 a dozen or something. So you got to execute it. Who's going to execute it? Who's going to pivot? Who's going to listen to the customers? Who's going to refine the products in those startup companies? Must be the team. And usually, the university team itself is not complete. We also know that mentorship is extremely important.